There's a rat in the NFL.
Uh-oh.
We got a rat.
Chuck E. Cheese rat or
a snake.
Oh, wow.
A cheese eater.
Whoa.
A bottom feeder.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah. A rat. You know who it is?
Who?
Sportsbooks. Online sportsbooks that are tracking the activity of players who may or may not be gambling inside the team facility. And that's why these guys have popped up and then been popped themselves for gambling on either the NFL or on college football, is the case of Jamison Williams. So you've got the Lions players, you had a guy from Washington, you had Lions staffers, you obviously had Calvin Ridley, and the NFLPA sent an email to all the agents around the NFL letting them know that this is how this stuff is being found out, that players are gambling inside the team facility and they're being tracked via these online sports books. We've got a rat in the NFL, and it's these gambling sports books online.
Oh, my gosh.
How dare they?
Oh, my gosh.
Giving their online sports books a little bit of business, and they got to out these guys for betting on college football. It's a disgrace. Absolute disgrace.
Of them. Oh, my gosh.
No cherry red there.
No cherry red. Oh, my gosh.
Rat bastards.
Oh,
it's pathetic.
I mean, look, here's how this has to work, all right? The NFL knows, and this stands for every other professional sports league, that as state by state, as they implement some form of sports gambling, professional gambling, and it's tied into the revenue streams of all of these professional sports, they understand that is like their next golden goose. That is the next direction where they will get the majority of the revenue that's coming in for their teams, for their leagues, is going to come from gambling. All right, we've got the TV rights. That's peaked. We're at an odd time in regards to consumption of television, streaming, etc., where you've got cord cutting that impacts the cable business, and everyone's trying to kind of figure out where this is going in the future. But the streaming now, that's becoming a much bigger piece of it. But the streaming's not necessarily ready to have live events, but it will be at some point. So we're all kind of pushing towards this space where we don't necessarily know. But one thing we know for sure is when gambling becomes legalized state by state, it's huge. I mean, what was the state of Ohio, if I'm not mistaken, Jonas, quote me on this, when it became legal January 1.
Oh, crushed it.
Yeah, it was crushed. It was like the second biggest in the country.
Yeah.
So you can imagine as this continues to roll out throughout our country, that is what every league, every sports team's looking at, saying these are going to be our sponsors. These are going to be people who are helping to infuse our league with capital and allow us to keep appreciating over time. And so if that's the case, you can't do the one thing that's going to ruin it for all involved. And that's breaking the trust of those who are placing the bets. And how does that happen? Well, you have professional players who are rigging games, who are betting on games, and finding a way of trying to pad their pockets in other ways. And so if that happens, you lose the trust of the bettors, the gamblers, right? They're not laying bets anymore. And you lose the trust of the fans because they're not going to watch when they feel like the league is rigged. They're not going to buy tickets. They're not going to buy merchandise. They're not going to buy any of that. And so, you have to find a way of regulating it and having to have a partnership between the sports book and the leagues to make sure everything's on the up and up. And none of these players, none of these coaches, anyone involved is a part of that to be able to, at least on the surface, keep it as clean as possible. And I know people are always going to say, well, hey, they can just have a bookie and they can go. That's always going to be the case, though.
Yeah.
That's always has been the case, always will be the case. If they want to do something illegal and they want to go behind someone's back, and that goes for a lot of things in this country, really in the world, you could probably do that. But at least as it looks, on the surface, the sports books, the professional sports teams, they have to do their best to work in unison to make sure you don't see a bunch of gambling and issues from a lot of the athletes that are involved.
And it only takes one guy who does go over the top. Like Calvin Ridley did a couple of 7-game parlays, which are, that's a rookie betting move anyways. That's, I'm just going to bet on this and this and this. Jamison Williams bet on college football. We don't know the specifics of these bets. It could have been a prop bet. Hey, the Cowboys kicker is going to miss this next kick. Let me do a live bet on it. Like it could have been something like that. But it only takes one that really does impact, or at least the notion that it impacted something. Case in point, Tim Donaghy. I believe that there are still people who watch the NBA who don't think it's on the up and up when it goes to officiating. I still believe there are people that look at the NBA and go, no, something must be going on here. I forget who's the official who's got this record against Chris Paul. I forget the guy's name, but the Suns finally won a game, and this guy, and was the official there for the Chris Paul game. And it felt like, let's go live to Eddie Garcia, who's got the latest on an official who might be gambling on Chris Paul games. Eddie?
Scott Foster.
Yes, Scott Foster. That's the guy. So, it only takes one player to give a bad reputation or to give a bad look or a bad optic towards the league, and then everybody starts to think, well, maybe it's not on the up and up. Maybe there's something fugazi going on with the NFL.
Fugazi.
My question is,
I was just going to ask LaVar. Do you feel like something's fugazi? Jonas used the word.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
You're a minister of fugazi.
If you were the NFL and you were this concerned about it, knowing that you're entering the space and the potential of money and revenue that could come in, as Brady pointed out, if you were the NFL, wouldn't you figure out a way to child-proof this or do something along those lines to where you make it impossible for any NFL player to gamble from their phone inside the team facility? Like, I had a buddy who came out here to California, and he tried to use a sportsbook online that he used back home, and you can't use it because the location identifies that you're in a place that it's prohibited. If you're the NFL,
it's called geofencing.
Yeah, okay. Why don't you geofence it or whatever for these players so you don't even give them the option? If you're this concerned about it, why they can't figure out another way to make this happen other than leaving it in the hands of the players who clearly already have made some mistakes and are getting suspended for it?
My whole thing is if you're a player, why don't you just, if you are a part of, well, I don't know. I just feel like just have somebody else do it. Like, what are you placing the bet for? Just have somebody else do it.
Find a runner.
Have somebody else do it.
Yeah.
Like, why are you even associated with it? Like, that just seems egotistical. Like, that just seems like that's just like.
You're saying you need a fall guy.
Yeah.
Every guy's got to have a fall guy. When you go out, you got to make sure.
Y'all got a crew?
You got to pick them out before you get into the car, before y'all go rolling. You got to say, you right there, you tonight are the designated fall guy. So if you go out with us, you have to understand whatever
so
may
your
happen.
crew had a rotating designated fall guy?
No.
Hey, whose turn
we
is
didn't
it?
have a
We just
rotating fall guy.
had one guy. We're like, all right, you gotta take
You're
it.
the guy. And it was usually like somebody who was a part of, like, they were like for me, when I was moving around like that and I was like a heathen in life, I had a U.S. Marshal that was my fall guy.
What?
Absolutely. You want to know? You want to know the point?
Saying this on the air?
You want to know the point?
You're gonna plan it on a U.S. Marshal?
You want to know? Well, the point is that there's no fall. There's no fall at all when you have a U.S. Marshal.
Who was it? Tommy
gotcha.
Lee Jones?
Yeah, I was
was
gonna
it
say-
U.S. Marshal?
He had a voice like
outhouse,
that.
doghouse.
I'm picturing Tommy Lee Jones. Wasn't he a U.S. Marshal?
Yeah, he
Yes.
was.
And he would hunt your ass down too, boy.
That's what I'm picturing, though.
Yeah.
Was that basically who your U.S. Marshal was?
Nah, there was two of them. One was the lead man. Like, he made sure, like, if we were going to like a club or anything like that, like the security was what it was supposed to be. We knew what the exits were. And we were allowed to have access to those
You gotta
exits.
have access to the back door.
Yeah,
You got to.
like that's it. You're laughing, but that's on everything, and even the side doors.
Trust me, I know.
Stuff gets to popping
I
off.
know how this works.
Sometimes that front door is not easy to
been there.
get to. Yeah,
Done that.
yeah.